Welcome to The Explainer. So let's just jump right in, shall we? Right now we're watching this massive collision course unfold right in front of us. On one hand, you've got this huge fundamental shift in what people actually want out of their careers and their lives. And on the other hand, we've got the rapid explosion of decentralized tech that's completely rewriting the rulebook on how we work together. Today, we are going to unpack exactly how these changing human ambitions are colliding with groundbreaking blockchain tech to build the future of work.
To kick things off, I want to throw a question your way. What actually happens when the workforce no longer wants to climb the corporate ladder? I mean, for generations, success meant, proving yourself, grinding out those crazy long hours, and putting your career above literally everything else. But what if that whole rigid, ladder-climbing model just isn't what the next generation wants anymore?
Section 1. The Human Shift, Redefining Career Ambition.
Get this. Deloitte did this massive survey of over 22,000 young workers across 44 countries and found that just 6% say reaching a traditional leadership role is their main goal right now. 6%! Why is it so staggeringly low? Well, they tend to look at the corner office and just see massive stress, burnout, and basically zero work-life balance. Honestly, the traditional corporate ladder has kind of lost its shine.
But, and this is a big but, here's the catch, 76%, a huge majority of Gen Z, does actually want to be senior leaders eventually. So the ambition hasn't disappeared, right? It's just evolved. They still have that drive to lead, but only if it comes with actual well-being and balance. They're basically flat out refusing to make the same brutal trade-offs that older generations just swallowed as normal. So we are looking at a total paradigm shift in values. That old-school demand to relentlessly prove yourself and put work first, it's out. The new ambition is all about long-term fit, well-being, and crucially, purpose. For Gen Z and millennials, making a real impact, finding a genuine sense of belonging, having actual friends at work, these aren't just perks anymore. They're non-negotiable. They will literally walk away from roles that don't match up with these values.
Section 2. The AI Catalyst, Automating the Entry Level.
Now, while all these human desires are shifting, artificial intelligence is throwing gasoline on the fire. It's totally changing the game on what skills we expect by automating all that routine, repetitive stuff. But it's creating a weird gap. Young workers are eagerly using AI every day to boost their productivity and lower stress, yet nearly a third of them, about 33%, feel their organizations are completely unprepared for the AI revolution. They feel like their companies are really dragging their feet on giving them the right tools and training.
And because AI is catching on so fast, what workers expect from their jobs is totally transforming. Young professionals are like, hey, let AI handle the mindless busy work. They want to elevate those entry-level tasks so they can build high-level skills way faster and dive into meaningful work right from day one. Honestly, they're demanding dynamic new organizational setups that can actually support this kind of fast-tracked growth.
Which brings us to a pretty massive crossroads in this explainer. If young workers are actively demanding autonomy, balance, fast-tracked growth, and deep purpose, what kind of organization actually delivers on all that? The clunky, centralized corporate pyramid just seems totally unequipped for this. So, what's the technological alternative?
Section 3. The Structural Shift. Enter the DAO.
This is exactly where shifting human sociology meets a truly wild technological solution. I am super excited to introduce you to the DAO. That stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Imagine a network of people collaborating through self-executing smart contracts on a blockchain, completely without a central hierarchy. Just let that sink in for a second. No CEO, no middle managers, just a trustless, decentralized workplace that runs purely on transparent, programmable rules.
And this isn't just a tech pipe dream, it actually has serious academic backing. Research published in the Partners Universal International Research Journal points out how traditional, centralized organizations are facing an existential challenge from these exact digital models. Things like rapid digitization, a booming gig economy, and globalization, they've completely paved the way for DAOs to step up and offer a brand new paradigm for how we actually organize ourselves and get work done.
Okay, so how do these DAOs actually work in the real world? They're built on 4 core pillars. First, decentralization, meaning decision-making power is spread directly among the members. Then, transparency. Everything is recorded on a permanent, public ledger for everyone to see. Third is autonomy, which happens through highly programmable rules. And finally, incentive alignment, making sure everyone is pulling in the exact same direction using digital tokens. Notice a trend here? That radical transparency and real autonomy? That is exactly what the new workforce has been craving.
Now, the actual magic engine powering a DAO is something called a smart contract. You can think of it like a self-executing agreement written totally in code. Here's how it plays out step by step. Step 1, somebody submits a proposal via code. Step 2, the network votes on it using their digital tokens. And step 3, if the vote passes, boom, the contract automatically executes the decision. No human manager is needed to push the paperwork or sign off. It's totally trustless, which strips out human bias and manual bottlenecks.
And that whole voting process brings us to a concept called tokenomics. It's basically a brilliant mashup of tokens and economics. The whole idea is to use digital assets to align everyone's interests, give out actual voting rights, and heavily reward collaboration on a global scale. So, instead of a rigid salary and some vague, stressful promise of maybe getting a promotion in 5 years, contributors get rewarded directly with tokens. These tokens give them a tangible voice and a real stake in where the organization is going.
You might be wondering, though, how do you actually make decisions without a boss in the room? Well, DAOs use a few different governance models to distribute that power fairly. Direct voting is exactly what it sounds like. Everyone gets a direct say on a proposal. Delegated voting lets you pass your vote to someone who might know more about the specific topic, which is great for preventing voter fatigue. And then there's liquid democracy, which is this really cool fluid mix of both. You can vote directly or delegate your vote and instantly change your mind whenever you want. That level of flexibility empowers the individual worker in a way that rigid corporate structures honestly never could.
When you zoom out and look at the whole picture, the contrast is literally night and day. The old way is strictly centralized, super reliant on manual grunt tasks, and heavily focused on the stress of climbing a corporate ladder. The new way, it's decentralized, it's AI augmented to massively upgrade entry-level work, and it's brilliantly token incentivized. It perfectly lines up with today's demand for purpose, real balance, and pure autonomy.
Which brings us to this absolutely perfect quote from that Deloitte survey. What generations need, want, and expect from work will and should continue to evolve. To meet the reality of today's workforce, organizations have to be incredibly dynamic. They have to keep adapting. Because if those old traditional structures refuse to adapt to the new standard of well-being and purpose, well, these new decentralized frameworks are primed and ready to take their place.
Which leaves me with one final thought to throw your way. How is your workplace going to adapt to this decentralized future? Are they still clinging to that old, stressful ladder? Or are they prepping for an era driven by AI, non-negotiable well-being, and trustless global collaboration? I really hope this explainer gave you some food for thought. Thanks so much for hanging out and learning with me today. Keep questioning the systems around you, and I'll catch you next time.